Get out those iCals, it's time for a look back at 2009, the Apple Year in Review. 2009 started with Apple's last Macworld appearance. Steve Jobs announced he would be missing the keynote for health reasons, leaving it in the hands of Phil the Thrill Schiller. As part of the keynote announcements, Apple says it will go DRM-free on all music. Word also leaked that AT&T would offer tethering for the iPhone. Of course, 12 months later, and we still don't have tethering for the iPhone from AT&T. Google also announced Chrome, their own browser, would make its way to the Mac platform. The battle lines were drawn for the beginning of, at the least, a Cold War between Apple and Google. Apple also announced 500 million app downloads from the App Store. And happy birthday, Mac! The Macintosh turned 25 in what could have been kindly described as low-key fashion. And Apple filed a patent for iPhone gloves. February marked the entry of the next iPhone killer, the BlackBerry Storm. Then someone turned one on, and suddenly it wasn't such an iPhone killer. Apple killed off the Insomnia Film Festival. After sponsoring for several years, it was lights out on the fest that challenged students to make a 3-minute film in 24 hours. Microsoft announced they would have their own retail stores, and while they looked oddly familiar, there were some things you could only find in a Microsoft store. Finally taking a stance, Apple says customers who tinker with a device they bought to make it do things Apple doesn't want it to are bad, evil people. Jailbreakers, beware. Apple co-founder and Apple II creator Steve Wozniak dances his way into our hearts on Dancing with the Stars. In a sign of things to come, AT&T's 3G data network in Austin grinds to a halt as thousands of iPhone users descend on the city for the annual South by Southwest Music, Film, and Interactive Festival. The buttonless iPod Shuffle makes its debut. Have a favorite pair of headphones you want to use with it? Too bad! Microsoft's Laptop Hunters ads debut with Lauren. The ads show an average person given $1,000 to buy a PC laptop. Turns out, she's a hired actress. Show of hands, who's surprised? Oh, and Apple filed a patent for a magic wand. Have fun with that new iPod Shuffle, but not too much fun. Turns out a moisture issue causes malfunctions. Millions use it as an excuse to stay home from the gym. Well, okay, just me. Apple and AT&T draw the attention of the FCC over the use of Skype on the iPhone. By the time everything is sorted out, Skype is freely available. SciStar announces, you know what? Let's not even go there. Analyzing 33 million Flickr images, Cornell researchers discover Apple's flagship Fifth Avenue, New York City store is the 28th most photographed place on the earth. Don't shake the baby! Apple faces a mini PR hiccup from the release and eventual removal of the Shake the Baby app for the iPhone. AT&T announces plans to double its 3G capacity. In May, Apple fan Trent Reznor is frustrated as his Nine Inch Nails iPhone app is rejected by Apple. And if you can't beat them, join them. Amazon announces the Kindle store for the iPhone. KFC experiences grilled chicken giveaway chaos, having to turn away customers. This really has nothing to do with Apple, but we're just still pissed off about it. Former Apple engineer and iPod guru John Rubinstein joins Palm. Could the Pre be the iPhone killer? The Wall Street Journal reports Steve Jobs had a liver transplant 2 months earlier. The report says the transplant took place in Tennessee, one of the areas of the country with the shortest waiting lists. iPhone 3GS sales get off to a brisk start, with Apple announcing 1 million phones sold in the first 3 days. Does Megan Fox have a toe for a thumb? An online ad from Microsoft features a vomiting woman. Microsoft decides to pull the ad. Stay classy, Redmond. Word leaks of a new data center for Apple in North Carolina. Looks like we'll have to wait until 2010 to see what Apple has in store for the 500,000 square foot facility. Another App Store oops. This time it's the app Beauty Meter that gets pulled after underage girls are found posting nude pics on the Hotness app. Just another day in the App Store. The University of Washington begins a certificate program in iPhone development. iTunes quietly marches on to world domination with the opening of its Mexico portal. Speaking of world domination, the iPhone becomes the most used camera for Flickr images, creating 12.4 million images, or just over 5,000 every day. Looking for more market share? Head north. Apple reaches 10% market share in Canada, according to IDC. Apple and AT&T once again gain the attention of the FCC, and this time Google's in the mix as the he said, she said brews over just why and how Google's Google Voice app isn't available for the iPhone. WWDC brings the launch of Snow Leopard. While lacking additional bells and whistles, Apple says it has plenty of under-the-hood improvements. Almost everyone is pleased with the $29 price point. And beware of Jessica Biel. Biel has the honor of being the most dangerous search on the web, according to McAfee. Searching for Beal led to more adware, spyware, etc. than any other celebrity. Apple's 9909 iPod event leaves many wanting more, like the Beatles on iTunes or maybe a camera in the iPod Touch. The iPod Nano gains a video camera. AT&T announces MMS for the iPhone, still no tethering, but hey, it's only September. 2 billion with a B downloads from the App Store with 85,000 apps to choose from. The number of decent apps reaches triple digits. Adobe announces Flash 10.1 will run on Android, Palm, Windows, Linux, OS X. Heck, it'll run on practically everything, as long as it's not an iPhone. Apple and Palm battle on iTunes syncing, with subsequent updates breaking and fixing the ability to sync Palm's Pre to iTunes. Sick of the race to the bottom in App Store pricing, the developers of Alchemize raised their app price to $39.99 in protest. Now you've got a Mac with Snow Leopard, what could possibly go wrong? Well, nothing except the deletion of all user data. A quirky bug allows a guest account switch at the wrong time to delete user data. An update later fixes the issue, but not in time for everyone. In other news, GeoCities breathes its last breath. No one attends the funeral. October comes and goes, still no tethering for the iPhone from AT&T. Adobe changes the message iPhone users see when attempting to download Flash to let them know just who they think is responsible for the lack of iPhone Flash support. Apple announces the app count in the App Store at over 100,000. The search for a great racing game, however, continues. Motorola's Droid, the closest thing to an iPhone killer so far, reports sales of 800,000 in the first month. Ashton Kutcher still loves Twitter. It's revealed AT&T has spent less on network infrastructure every quarter since the iPhone was released. Fake Steve Jobs advocates Operation Chokehold, an attempt to bring down the AT&T 3G network. The attempt fails and probably leaves AT&T looking better than if it hadn't been proposed in the first place. Apple purchases Lala, setting up an interesting chance to move to a streaming subscription model. And that brings us to the end of 2009, but if you remember just one thing from this year's review, let it be this. For TheDigitalLifestyle.tv, I'm Ryan Ritchie.